Education Freedom Account applications for Arkansas, or EFAs, opened to the public in less than a month on March 3rd. It's part of the LEARNS Act that helps families afford private, religious, or homeschool educations instead of public schools. Today, more than 14,000 Arkansas students are in that program. Now, each student gets $6,600. Right now, that's a total of about $35 million. But next school year, when it expands, the state says each student will get over $6,800, and they have more than $180 million set aside to fund the increase in applications, according to Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Education's changing in Arkansas, and EFAs are about to be universal.
In opening up the education freedom accounts and empowering parents to have control over where and how their kids are best educated, I feel confident that not only have we put money aside, but that is one of the parts of legislation, and part of my budget was making sure that we had enough funding so that every family in the state of Arkansas has access to an education freedom account if they choose to participate.
A local school superintendent says more student vouchers could take students and money away from public schools.
Our funding is based on student enrollment, along with tax assessment in our communities. So if we lose people out of our communities or people choose to go with the AFA route, part of their funding would be cut or reduced.
John LaFoon, the current Farmington superintendent, was once employed in a small rural district of Star City in Lincoln County, Arkansas. He's also the president of the Rural Education Association.
Parents and families could choose to drive and go to a private school, but they could also choose to homeschool their children. And so every time a district loses students, that takes part of that funding out of their overall total funding in their district. And so I think it's a challenge we're all going to face.
LaFoon says the loss of more students could mean reductions in staff, specialty programs, or extracurricular activities in some school districts. It's a concern that Dennis Copeland shares. He's a former superintendent and director of the Arkansas Rural Education Association.
It's something that you don't want to have to face. You get less and less for each one of those students. They look in cutting services, the number of teachers may have to be reduced.
Some educational leaders have voiced concerns over the differences in accountability and standards for schools and homeschool families participating in EFA.
We would like to see some accountability for the private schools. If public tax money is going to the private schools, they should be under the same accountability measures as our public schools.
And if they're taking public monies, then they probably need to have some of the same type of things that requirements that public schools do.
Governor Sanders says this year the accountability piece is covered with a standard entrance test requirement.
We made sure that the institutions that were participating in that program are willing to do a approved standardized test through the state, and so we're putting some of those accountability measures already in place. That was part of the initial piece of legislation.
LaFoon says while he is seeing growth in the Farmington Public School District, he has heard from parents who support school choice and are happy to have that option in Arkansas.
Parents ultimately have to make that decision on what's best for their kids. I think the Department of Education is listening as much or more than they ever have.